Hey, I'm DJ and welcome to Rise Through Concrete. Y'all are going to be with me for about the next 30 minutes or less. I'm going to try to keep it under 30 minutes. That's what we're going to plan to do. Now, why are you here? What is this? Those are probably your first two questions. Now, if you are a fan or have been a fan or have heard of any of those, Cloud Thrive, then you're familiar with the space, at least, right? So let me help you fill in the blanks. Cloud Thrive was a platform that really just was a space to kind of bring people together and really just bring motivational thoughts, thoughts and conversations into one space. And that show had the opportunity to sunset. It is no longer here. However, you most definitely can find it on YouTube. Now, Rise Through Concrete is a completely different space. Rise Through Concrete really takes it and it blows it out the water. We are oftentimes putting our own selves in a bubble, and sometimes life just throws a bunch of crap at us and we let it pile on top of us. Now, we oftentimes are, building walls and we're putting up things around us to really shelter ourselves and protect us from the outside world. And I think this first episode here is really going to speak to that. I want this to be the intro and first episode. So it's going to be a little more on the intro side, but then we're also going to go right into the first question of this episode. So let me start off with the intro, right? I want us to fail forward. It's like the whole thing, right? I'm struggling to fit in my failure to launch just anywhere and everything, but always having like a great foundation is always that thing that I'm always struggling to do. And I realize that I'm not the only one. We all have great skills. We all have great potential. And for some reason, we just can't seem to take off. And there's that small percentage that do. That small percentage that does take off, go places. And it's not that we can't get there. It's oftentimes that we get inside of our heads and we make things more complicated than they need to be. I'm with you, right? I see it. I get it. And sometimes it's really about pulling it back, making it make sense and starting again. Except for the second time around, you may be a little bit more cautious. And doing that over and over again, you become so sheltered that you forget to take that chance, right? So what I want to do is I want us to fail forward and I want us to fill in those blanks. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's going to take more than one try. I know it really does for me. It really has been for me. But for me, that's where the adventure is. That's where it starts. And I'm a gamer. So if you get those analogies throughout this, you're just going to get it because that's where it is. Now, I really want us to get out of our own way so that we can unlock that innovative parts of ourselves, because we do have the potential to get there. Now, we are going to have to sidestep into a little bit of self-reflection because we got to dig a little bit deeper. We got to get there. So I know most of us have had those jobs where you're starting to meet somebody new and you hear the manager in the room say, let's start with an icebreaker. That's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to do a bunch of icebreakers, but we're going to go a little bit deeper, right? We have to because one, my icebreakers are different. They're just on a whole different level and you're going to get there. You're going to not only understand those around you, but you're going to understand yourself. And that's what makes these a lot different. One, because we're going to learn from ourselves in a previous chapter of our own lives. But we're also going to take those experiences and we're going to recognize at some point they were learning points. We're really going to learn from them. I mean, sometimes you can walk around with a resentment, but at some point, if you can talk about it and you can really have the opportunity to be reflective and have that, okay, I get it. Then really there's that piece in there for you. So with that, I really want us to get started. I'm so ready for us to move forward. Let's find that opportunity for us to really just build on that empathy, understanding. And I really want us to embrace change. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I am so comfortable with being uncomfortable in a healthy way. I'm going to say that I'm gonna just tell y'all that right now. That's mine. Don't take that. That's mine. Okay? I'm gonna say it one more time for y'all because I need for y'all to understand and embrace that. Okay? I am so comfortable with being uncomfortable in a healthy way. And when I say it, I don't want you to take it as we're just going to be in this space and we just have to be uncomfortable all the time. But when you change and when you grow and when you evolve, you're going to realize that it's not always comfortable. You're not always comfortable when an opportunity comes. You're not always comfortable when something that you've wanted is now starting to approach you, because it could be faster than you've expected, right? It could be approaching you at a whole different speed and you're just like, hold up, wait a minute. I'm feeling resistance. I don't like this. I was told that when I get to this point, it's going to be easy. No. See, because we have to learn, we have to adjust, we have to grow. I'm being faced with things I'm not used to. And so sometimes we have to overcome a lot of those challenges. And I know for me, no, it wasn't always easy, but I'm here and I'm ready to learn. So with that, I just want to introduce you guys to the show one more time so we can get started. I'm DJ. Welcome to Rise Through Concrete. Let's fail forward, fill in the blanks. It might take us more than one try to really get it. However, that's where the adventure is. Now, let's jump right into it. First question is, when did you lose your ability to dream like a child? Now, this question is going to be posted on the Instagram, on the Facebook, and yes, I said the Facebook. It will also be on LinkedIn and the Twitters. It'll be on all of those, right? My responses are going to be there. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want you guys to use the hashtag #bestself because that's where these come from. They are an absolutely, and no, not sponsored, but best self. You're going to have the information in the description. You are going to be able to access the same deck I'm using for this. But I really want you guys to tell me, when did you lose your ability to dream like a child? Hashtag Rise Through Concrete Podcast. I want to know, when did you lose your ability to dream like a child? For me, and that's where this episode really gets started, is when I was younger. Jumping into the deep end here, you guys. For me, I lost my ability to dream like a child when I was forced to not use my creativity. So yes, I am one of those kids who is a creative. I love to either color outside the lines or make the lines do my bidding. And I'm going to make the lines what I want them to be because I see something completely different. I'm going to admit, I'm a bit of a rebel. However, that doesn't mean I'm not going to listen. That just means I see things a little bit differently. And, given the opportunity to be creative, I've always been able to kind of push those boundaries and be expressive. And in some spaces, I've been able to paint murals. I've been given the opportunity to build certain things and, just share, right? Express through color, through art. And I thought it was just like really, really amazing. And it was really interesting to me being in a space because I was at school and I was in, I want to say middle school. It may have been maybe 5th or 6th grade. I want to say it was one of those, right? And my teacher did not give me the opportunity to really express myself. And as an educator, I had never experienced what I had experienced in this space, right? I didn't know what it was. So the first couple days, I kind of went home. I shared it with my mom because I didn't understand what was happening. I took it back because I grew up in a diverse school at a younger age, so I didn't recognize it. And it wasn't until later we were beginning presentations that I had my teacher then come back and was like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work for me. I don't like it. And I took it. I took it okay at first because it was like, okay, maybe I didn't follow the directions, but this assignment for me gave me the opportunity to be creative. It wasn't until I had a classmate who then went up presented her project. And in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, great. So we're going to have like almost the same grade, right? Because it looks almost the same. Yeah, no. That wasn't the case at all. See, because she got praised. I didn't understand what was happening because we were of the same race, of the same culture. And it wasn't until I had another classmate of mine, because I did change school. So we were, I was in a different school. It wasn't until like my classmate had brought it up to me like at lunch and we were talking. And he was like, yeah, he likes light skinned girls. And I was so confused. Like, I was like, what? Like, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like right now, like you see pictures of me and like way more confident, way more out there. Like it's me. Like I'm okay with that, right? Flawed and unbothered, baby. Flawed and unbothered. But then like I didn't think I was like the best looking child, but I was really neutral. I was a tomboy. I did what I did. I do what I do now. But to have someone tell me that now I am not allowed to be expressive, and then have someone do the same thing and be allowed to do it at that age, I felt I'm not allowed to have this opportunity. So what do? I become so conservative in my art. I become so, like, I want to just follow the directions as is. I don't want to color outside the lines. I don't want to push boundaries, because everything I did around this teacher, I was ridiculed. I was pushed back into that box, right? I had never felt that before. Like, I didn't know what that was. Like, I had no idea what it was like to be told you're not allowed to be creative. Until I had this teacher. And it was so interesting because he was not the art teacher. It was just so interesting to me. But as an educator, because I loved school, it really hurt me, right? It impacted me. So like, I guess as an adult, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, it hurts. But younger me was just like, color inside the lines. Only follow directions everywhere, right? Like, just, it's gonna be literal. And you're trying to fit in socially, you're trying to just figure it all out. Everything is everywhere, and you just want an outlet. And I felt like I didn't really have one, though I had quite a few, but art for me was just where it lied, right? That's all I did, between that and dance. And it hurt. Like, it just straight up hurt. So, having that and going through middle school, trying to re-identify who I was and really grasp at the roots of what I needed was really important. I believe now, where it impacted me negatively, I've had the opportunity to grow from it as a person, but I recognize that not everyone can do that. I realized that I began at that point putting up walls creatively. I began to shelter myself. I began to try to get it right the first time instead of allowing myself to make those mistakes. And as an adult, I now try to express to my children, like, hey, make those mistakes and be okay with those mistakes. Embrace those mistakes. Like, that is what makes you you, because I recognize now, not only do I need to build that partnership with the teacher, but I also need to hold that teacher accountable. Like, there has to be that balance there to foster their growth and creativity. And it's so interesting because I felt like, I see that in them. And I don't want to ever dim that light. So not only do they need to find their voice in their art or through their art, but they also need to be able to find their voice, literally. And I want them to have that and know how to speak up and speak out. What I can say, though, is that story has an ending. So I'm going to stop right here, make that pause. And as soon as we come back from this break, we're going to wrap this story up. So hold on a couple seconds and we're going to wrap this back up. All right, you guys, before we get into the next part of this show, I want to take a pause and highlight Anchor for making the show possible and just sharing with you guys how we're even moving forward with just building better, period. So I want you all to know that Anchor One is free. Everybody likes free, and I know for the most part, most people will say if it's free, it's not of quality. One, I want to just debunk that. Not true. A couple things with Anchor. One, yes, you can distribute your podcast. Anchor will take care of all of that for you, and it's done through most of the major mainstream platforms that you would listen to a podcast. One of the other pieces that I really do enjoy about using Anchor is that a lot of the tools that you'll need are right there within either the app or the website itself. So it's not like you have to download anything extra, and they're always looking for ways to be innovative and add extra features that the listeners and the users are looking forward to, making the process a little bit easier. Another piece to that is you can, yes, make money from the podcast. No, there is no minimum listenership. And of course, everything is in one place. I just want to let you guys know, yes, it's an app. You can do it directly from your phone. It's going to be anchor.fm to get started. Don't believe me? I'll drop it down in the description of all of the episodes moving forward, so you guys will have that. And if anything changes, I'll be the first to let you know. All right, now let's wrap this up really quickly. So, just a quick recap, you guys. Question: when did you lose your ability to dream like a child? I want to wrap this up. So, of course, mine had a lot to do with me being in school, being young, and trying to just find my creative outlets, and being tamped down and being forced to be more creative in how I express myself. Now, just to wrap that story up, I have an amazing mom who stuck up for me. She was not playing it. I will say that there was a couple of other things that took place, and I have no idea where this teacher is now, but he did put his hands on me. He did pinch me. I think while it's not ever right for a teacher to put their hands on students at all, I had a bruise on my arm for quite some time. My mom came up to the school. We dealt with it. I don't remember what happened to that teacher, but he was accountable. He was made to be held accountable for his actions at that time. I ended up with a whole different teacher. But my mom stood up for me, and she continued to press forward and make sure I was able to express my art. She made sure that I was given the ability to express myself and my voice. Now, what I will say is I think that does have its ups and downs, because I'm a little pushy. And I'm very vocal. It did not always happen, and I think with it, I found myself advocating in spaces where I've over the years had to learn to be silent and advocate with just my presence and my silence. And I've learned that sometimes has a bigger impact. So, on that note, I'll say, words of wisdom is to just find your voice, and don't be afraid to ask questions when you need to. Don't be afraid to push forward when you need to. And, dreaming like a child, I would say never be afraid to take that chance. Don't be afraid to dream outside the lines. Don't be afraid to put those garters down and take that chance again. Take that leap again, because I'm doing it again myself, and I thoroughly enjoy it and I thoroughly love it. So with that, thank you for joining me as we rise through concrete in this episode. And I can't wait for you guys to join me next time. And as always, don't forget to build strong foundations, rise with intention, and thrive with courage and confidence. I will see y'all later.